What's up, everyone? Welcome back to NL Fantasy Analysis. What a day this was. The Cowboys had a massive win and actually played really good footy. Who would have thought that they'd be 2 from 3 and the team that they lost against would be the Dogs? Anyway, great start to the year for these boys and a really awesome game for Valentine Holmes. In the centres there, really showed his capabilities, had a length of the field, almost try, which helped him out a bit, and then a nice try at the end with 7 goals. So perfect game for him. Still not someone I'd be looking at as an option, but just wanted to shout that out to Val. Paddy Carrigan was 69. So 68 minutes for him was really high compared to normal. And yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Like he's averaging 56 for the first 3 games now. So he was at 50 before that. Price is 644. He's obviously gone up 56K now. I suppose the big thing for him is, will he be able to continue getting those big minutes? Hetherington came on and got a few extra minutes this time. Is that going to change anything? Is that going to change going forward? Payne Haas there with 57 minutes, so he's got more than him, which is a little bit annoying, but obviously playing a slightly different role, running the ball a little bit less than what Payne does. But yeah, very interesting for Pat, and he becomes potentially an option at some point through the year. I wouldn't be looking at him right this second, but yeah, definitely a good option. Payne Haas, so 64, he was actually struggling a little bit coming into the back end of the game, just to the limited minutes, and he was slightly under a PPM of 1. And we obviously are hoping for him to get somewhere in the mid-60s each week as captain. You just have a look there. He's already made 69K. So we've captained him from the start, and we've got an average of 69. So we can't complain at all. Obviously, if you wanted to captain Hines instead, that would have been cool. Obviously, an extra 25 points. But, it's 25 points for someone that's a lot safer than what Hines might be. Yes, he's had an awesome start to the year. He's got a 50-odd to go along with his 2 big scores in the last few games. But Payne's someone who's completely reliable each week. He probably would have got a 50 if he didn't have that barnstorming run at the end and made that line break. So 50 is not the worst for someone who didn't really have a great game. Let's be honest. When there's so many points in the game too, 50 points, it's very hard for someone like Payne to get big tackles and big run meters. So I wouldn't be worrying about him. How good was Jeremiah Nanai? He was special. Just really excited for him. He's only just turned 19 years old. A very special talent for the Cowboys as well. And, picks up 43K this week in gains, which is really nice. So the 62, obviously the 3 tries is amazing. And people are like, oh, how do you score 3 tries and only get 62? They're all off kicks. So, a couple through the air and one a little grubber through. So just watch the highlights if you haven't seen it. That's why he didn't score like a 90, for example. The 3 missed tackles was a little bit better. And he had them all early in the first half as well. So a lot better than the 10 last week. Only had the 6 in negatives compared to the 20-odd. So, any of these guys that can get, 4 or less missed tackles, playing 80 minutes on an edge, that has the attacking ability of Jeremiah, then they're going to do pretty well. A couple of forced dropouts as well. He had a little kick through, which was cool. He's good and definitely an option for anyone who doesn't have him. Obviously at 438, it's probably a little bit of a worry now. And, same goes with Tommy Gilbert. 57 for him with a try saver and just much better than he obviously had in the first week. So he's franked that form that he had in the first game and he's made 80K. Again, a 540, he obviously has the dual position, but can he do that on a regular basis? I'm still not sure. There's every chance the next week they don't play as well, or he doesn't play as well, he doesn't get 2 turnover tackles, has a few more negatives, for example, and he could drop down a little bit. But, well done to him. A lot of guys in this game for the Cowboys did really well. You got Tommy Dearden with 56, so he's his first proper really good game, which is great. Probably one of his best games in the NRL with a try and 3 try assists. Don't expect that every week. Cotter, so if we see him for the first game back, and only had the 4 in negative, 7 tackle breaks, 28 tackles, 164 meters. So a really, really nice base there. 60 minutes, will he get that continuously going forward? I'm not exactly sure, but he's someone I'd probably watch over the next few games to see if he can continue matching that. Because if he does, he becomes an interesting option in the hooker mid dual position there. Who's someone who's not going to play Origin and could score really well. Just he's so busy. Hits really well in tackles and runs the ball hard. So he was really, really cool to watch. Just great for a Cowboys fan in general. And then we got Farnworth, and he's had a really good couple of weeks, guys. And obviously a decent option as like your keeper level center, which has the dual position with the fullback as well. So yeah, a great game for him, but again, probably not someone I'd be looking at this stage. He's had 2 really awesome games, a couple of doubles, 10 tackle breaks, so awesome for him. Reynolds just going to do his thing, 49 there again. Did have a try assist this time. 5 missed tackles is going to happen for him. He got bumped off a few times by who did bump him off? Tommy Gilbert, Lolo, and one of them too. So yeah. Reynolds doing his thing. Townsend doing his thing as well. Kobe Hetherington had a really nice game. His PPM has been incredible. Yeah, a bit over 1 PPM last game, and then he's 34, and then 43 in 37 minutes this week. So just gets in and tackles hard, and runs the ball hard too. Him and Cotter very, very similar. Like I was speaking in the preseason. At 406k, he's still not out of reach. I suppose the question is going to be, where's he going to find the extra minutes? Because we want him to be up about 50 to be a really, really good option. If he can get 50 minutes and maybe a score average of 45 or close to 50, then he'll get up to 600k pretty quick. So yeah, he's been good. I have him in the head-to-head team, and he's served me well the last 2 weeks anyway. All right, so Jamesy did all right there, not an option. Griffin Heem, he was awesome. How good was that try assist from Taumalolo into Neem there? He played really well, but he's just a bit too expensive. So yeah, and the 7 missed tackles is a bit of an issue too. Harlem Lukey, see a really nice game, 40 and he's 29. Again, not an option, and I'd probably still look to move him on, even though he scored well. He's just not going to get the opportunities on that edge with Gilbert playing well, for example. Palacia with 39. He actually played the full 80, so he moved to the right edge for Jordan Ricky, who went off with some rib issue, I believe. So, that was that. Too expensive again. Taumalolo, so had a nice try assist. 51 minutes, still gets 36 points. So, 6 missed tackles. A few of them were pretty lazy from him, if I'm honest. The 3 missed tackles and the offload. Like, he had some attacking stats and still only got 36. So, I think he's one that you can move on. He's lost 18k over the first few weeks, averaging 40, so not ridiculous. Like, you're only a little bit under what he's priced at. So you haven't completely whiffed on that pick. If you lost 80, 90k or something, then fair enough. But I think he's definitely one to move on this week. In the People Score, we're probably looking at moving him on and someone else to potentially get close to a Cleary. So that'll be fun to see if we can do that. But yeah, I think Taumalolo is a sell at this point. I just don't think he's just doing what we need to do, and he hasn't kicked on like we thought he might have. So that's that. Who else we got to talk about here? Cody Cadwell's not having a great time of it. Has gained 26k overall, but the next 7 this week was a little bit annoying with his 26 in total. Yeah, just not running the ball enough. Hamiso Tabuai Fado, so 23 points for him. I still think that first game was a bit of a fluke. He had 4 turnover tackles and 1 try saver. So that's 21 points in itself, and he got 52. So scores in around the 30-odd mark, especially in this one here where they got 38 points. You would have hoped that he benefited in some way, but he didn't. Just doesn't have the base that you need for a gun center or wing fullback. So he's on the chopping block as well. I think you can hold him or sell him, I think. I just don't think he's going to be a keeper, personally. Tony Staggs is really just hemorrhaging cash right now. Another 39k down, 4 errors, 5 missed tackles. He just really had a tough time of it. Did have a line break, but really, amongst all that, just not good enough. I think he needs to be moved on and potentially picked up a bit later. He's just going to continue to lose cash and get you down to about 400k soon. So I think you can go to any of the good centers. You can go up to the Aitkins, the Burtons, these types of players really easily, or downgrade for sure. Billy Walters, so 30 minutes this time. Had a few missed tackles early. Didn't get to run the ball too much. So he's doing what he needs to do, or what he can, I suppose, in that limited time. I suppose there's an opportunity at some point for him, if there's an injury to Turpin, for example, Reynolds, or also Kelly, then he would get that opportunity. So I think you should just hold him while he's still making cash. He'll start to level out pretty soon in the next week or two in terms of his price, but I think you can hold on to that. Even if he's scoring 20 to 25 each week, he'll hold around that 350, going forward. And yeah, as that we've lost Hess and we also lost Ricky in this one. So 2 guys that weren't really on the in people's minds. But Jordan, I suppose, if he can keep losing some cash, he might be an option at some point. If you are new to this channel, guys, please hit subscribe. I'd appreciate that. We'll move on to the last game of the round, which was the Manly and the Dogs game. 13-12. I really thought Manly had just actually worked out either way. I was like, Manly going to absolutely pump them, or it's going to be super close, and it ended up being the latter, even though I thought that they would beat them. But DCE just continuing to do what he needs to do. You can see that he's made 15k in total now, which shows that at 837, you only need to be hitting just over 60 to be really viable in this new scoring system. So if you've got someone that's really performing anywhere near that 60 mark, the absolute gold at the moment, and you'd be right near the top of the rankings, you can see what's happening with if you have both for more, for example, he's really propelling you up those rankings. So this year's been great. Another field goal to add to his tally, just doing everything: 100 meters, 5 tackle breaks, couple offloads, turnover tackles, doing it all. Look to get him in your side at some point in the year, but it might be post Origin. And then the rest of the game was really, really low scoring. Obviously, pretty wet the majority of the game. Jakey Jabojevic, Marty Tapau, Tommy. So 45 for him. Obviously, finally a good score. Did get a try finally, 237 meters. So he's always trying his guts out. The 4 tackle breaks as well, but another 74k down. So he's almost down 200k now. I suppose the worry with Nathan Cleary is that he could lose a bit of cash as well. But remember, that's completely different games. The halves, you can see how many different ways they can score points, whereas Tommy needs the attacking stats, which he just continued to get last year. Again, if whatever your thoughts are with Tommy, they are round 4. They don't play Canterbury. They're playing round 4, it doesn't matter. But still only by 22%. He was up over the 30% mark. So it's up to you whether you want to move him on, if you want to go him to Cleary, if you'd like to. But remember, the fullback position's pretty, we're all pretty light in terms of troops. No one really has any cover, so it'd be hard to move him on for anyone else other than like a gun fullback, whether it's a Hines, for example. But yeah, up to you what you want to do with Tommy. I'm not going to tell you because it's too hard to work out, that's for sure. Jackson, another low game, so 39k down for him, 80 in total. So he's going to be, he will definitely become a decent option at some point. If he happens to have to play big minutes, then if he can get him around the 600k mark over the next bunch of weeks, he could be cool because he's not going to play Origin. There's a few things there for Joshy Jackson. So yeah, if you have him, which is only 1.3%, then you're a little bit worried for sure. And I'd probably move him on for now and potentially come back to him later. Matty Burton, so 34, again, all in base, 2 goal kicks. The 3 penalties was a bit annoying for him. So he had 9 in negatives, nothing crazy. 45 average, still has him up 15k, but yeah, overall, we're looking for some bigger scores from him. I think he's still a decent option to bring in, so you definitely should be holding even off that 34. Their games are going to, they're going to get better as a team. He'll continue to do well eventually, guys. Especially like last week, he was in everything last game, so it'll happen again. Olakau'atu, a lower score, so again, up and down with him. Dylan Walker, always solid through the middle, but you're expecting anywhere between 30 and 45 with him. Maxi King was a little bit lower, so 29 for him in his only one stint, which is pretty normal, but just lower minutes for him this week. Did what he needed to do. He got 3 offloads, but just 46 meters run and 13 tackles. Was a bit lower than normal, so another 50k gained. I still think you can play him each week. Has that opportunity to get a 50 odd. You might expect somewhere between 30 and 40 on a regular basis, but has that upside as well. And until we get gun sides, I think you should continue to play him. He's making good cash for anyone who owns him. Leo Thompson, a low game for him. So he's had that one big one and a couple of low ones. Andrew Davies, so still not an option, guys. 22 and 54 minutes was only the 2, a couple of runs, 25 run meters. Again, just a bit of a weird game. Everyone scored really low. When you look at guys like Tavita Pangai Jr., he got 20 in his 46 minutes. He did not look like he wanted to be there. Did anyone else see that? Like, he was an absolute terrier in that game 1, and then like in round 2 for the NRL. But he just had no vigor in his running. Didn't even look to offload. It was really strange. I don't know if he's got rein back in or what was the go, but yeah, definitely not an option early on. He's owned by 6.5%. You'd probably want to hold him just based on how well he went the first week, but bit of a worry. But yeah, for him, he's going to continue to drop cash, and potentially we can pick him up a bit later if we see how things go. And of course, another game, I think this is the 3rd game this week where I own a player that's right at the bottom of the list. So how good is it when you've got one player in the game and you look at all the scores and the player on that team and even the other team, and they get the least minutes and the least points? It's great. It's funny how it ends up that way. Like, there's so many guys that you'd never think would be an option. In Paseka, like, he's had a decent start, but Paseka, for example, you just even if they get lower, crappy minutes, they always score okay. Like Morgan Harper, like, what I mean? Those guys 30, they're not even that great players. But then you've got guys that come out, they've got to make a bit of cash. They start making cash, and then they have games like this. It's funny how it works in fantasy. You always end up with that type of player who you've got to move on really quickly. But yeah, that's the couple of games, guys. And as I said in the Discord group, if you would like to hear more of these, jump back into the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday review videos. I usually talk about the guys that are in contention for trade outs, or potentially you'd like to bring them in and stuff like that. I think It's really beneficial if you jump back in and watch those, and and then continue on with the all the other videos that I pop out during the week. So as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll catch you in the next video. See you later.